Hello everybody and welcome back to another of my knitting podcast. I am Sam. I am an artist, illustrator, an aspiring knitting designer coming to you from Dublin in Ireland. If you're new to my channel, this is of course my attempt of a knitting podcast, touching base as well on other stuff like general living on someone that is trying to become an artist full-time and as well someone that has a lot of passions like reading, like of course drawing, knitting, crocheting, crafting and all packed into this podcast. Although I have to say, this one is gonna be full of knitting and crochet. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I know I haven't been uploading many videos lately. I'm just kind of taking it a little bit easier on myself and on the pressure that creating and uploading is kind of giving me. But today we will have a few knitting projects. One of these, you can see it here, is finished. A couple of crochet situation. An update on the travels that I've done on the last couple of weeks, and as well we do have usual suspect artwork updates, books that I'm reading and everything and anything. I really hope I'm not just speaking fast and furious, making no sense. It's currently 6 in the morning. I'm looking up there because my clock is over there, and I didn't want to film really today. I was just sitting on the couch watching the news while having my coffee, and yeah, I was like, why are we not taking advantage of this time and just put up an update from the last month? So here we go. Let's get into it. It's gonna be long, it's gonna be probably rumbly, but let's start. This is the first finish work that I have here. It's one of the iteration of the Cortina sweater or jumper by Dalegarn. Bit of a background if you haven't watched my previous episode. Dalegarn is a company that makes yarns and beautiful patterns. I think they are from Sweden, but I could be wrong, could be another of the Nordic countries. Anyway, they have a huge array of free patterns on the internet, and they are all beautiful and I want to knit them all. I'm not sponsored, I'm not nothing like that, but I am always recommending to check the Dalegarn website for inspiration, patterns, and new designs, because there's so many and they're all free. It's crazy. The patterns tend to be in Swedish and Norwegian language. Sometimes you find one translated in English. This was not the case. This was in Swedish. I had to translate it with Google Translator, was completely fine. They tend to be kind of recipe patterns rather than well thought out or well described step-by-step patterns, but if you're used to that, it is completely fine. Let me stand up if I can manage and give you a look of the jumper, and that will go into the pattern itself. So here it is. As you can see, it's a is it drop shoulder? A set-in type of shoulders with steeking and beautifully fitting, I think. I wanted to give you a better look, but I'm wearing indecent shorts, so I'd rather not go there. Let's talk about the pattern. It's a bottom-up pattern. You start from the ribbing at the bottom. and that's where my first modification comes. For easy access, I'll show you the ribbing on the cuffs, but it's the same. The pattern calls for a 2x2 ribbing with a regular custom. I did an Italian custom, went with a 2x2 ribbing, no border there. I knitted the ribbing up to the sleeves, knitted the other sleeves, knitted the whole body. That was an interesting construction. You knitted the whole body and you slope down the sleeves. I kind of never saw that happening in a bottom-up construction with steeking. But basically you slope the sleeve with decreasing a number of stitches both on the shoulder side and on the neck side. So at the end you get a body that looks like kind of a triangle on the top, if you wish, with both the sloped neck and the sloped sleeve. I decided then to knit the collar first and leave the sleeves open because we have steeking. So steeking means that you have your body done like a pipe, a round circle with the opening for the neck, and in my case the opening for the two shoulders. You will set the sleeve in, sew the sleeve into the body, cutting through the body on either side, so then you get the sleeve to match well. To do so, they recommend, or usually it's recommended, to run a couple of lines of sewing machine stitches down where you wanna cut through. So the sewing machine stitch being very tight and really thin will prevent the wool for unraveling, basically. I did film some footage on steeking. If it's on the camera, I will put it right after we finish looking into the pattern. If not, you can imagine it or have a look at other steeking videos. There are plenty. I'm not really afraid of steeking. I've done it many times. It's just a bit of a fuss. I don't know if I'm bothered to do that, but in this case I really loved the jumper, and yeah. The second modification I made is the color work. I decided to go for a very simple two-tone color work using this dark green. These are both colors from Drops Charisma. Talking about yarn, Drops Charisma is the yarn that made this jumper. I am not 100% fond with of Drops Charisma. It's a DK 100% wool yarn, but it tends to be quite itchy, quite rustic and a bit plasticky, if I have to say. On the other side, it's less than €2 a ball, so at some point I had to compromise there. And it is really easily available in Ireland, so I got that quantity of yarn. Only 2 colors rather than the pattern suggesting 3 interchangeable colors. This is, for example, a big band of a contrasting color that contrasts once again with the color work. Am I making sense? I really hope so. Anyway, it turned out that it's a decent yarn. It's sturdy, it doesn't peel. It's still a bit scratchy, I would say. In fact, I'm wearing just a t-shirt underneath and I'm feeling like I won't be able to wear this for a long time. But it's nice and cozy, and at the end I really love the fit. I'm thinking other modification, I don't think so. I knitted up, I believe, the first size. Now, I always talk about my 240 rule for fingering weight yarn. 240 number of stitches at my waist as cast on, or cast off if you go the other side. In this case, 194 is the number of stitches I cast on. I can say that because the pattern was free, and I'm saying that because I need to remember that going forward. I am not a DK jumper knitter, I don't know, lover, enthusiast. I haven't done that for a lot of jumpers. I tend to vert into fingering weight, lighter weight yarn than decay. So I need kind of to create this rule of the 240 stitches for decay as well. And I think around 195, 200 stitches would work with me. In this case, 194. Anyway, if I have any video on sticking, it's gonna come up right now for you. Here we go. I have no idea if the light is decent in this room. I did a very bad mistake of putting my desk, that you will see in a second, right by the window, and the light is showing on my behind. Anyway, I have a ring light there. It's not doing that much, but we're here for the sticking. So I have my jumper finished. It's all bundled up. Let me turn it for you. Here we go. As you can see, this is the body. It's done. I have the shoulder seam still open because I would like to have some leeway, English is not English in today, to get my sewing machine into the groove, the sticking of the sleeve opening. So having two openings, two apertures, both on the top and on the bottom, may help me somehow. So what I'm gonna do next, what you will see on the camera, is to take some measurement and mark where I want my sticking to be. And to do so, I will need to take my sleeves, lay them flat on the top of the sleeve opening, or where the sleeve opening will go, and then base stitch some with some different color thread where I want the opening to be. Do you feel like I can't speak today, or is it only me? I don't know if it's because I'm just back from Italy and I have been speaking another language for the last 10 days, or what it is. I am just very rustic in filming. But anyway, let me move the camera and I'll show you what is the next step here. So here we go. The angle is a bit awkward, but we can manage that. I got my sleeve, I got my body. Now the idea would be to have both the sleeve and the body well blocked, but we are too impatient to do that. So I have here a thread of wool, which is kind of a contrasting color. This is what I kind of found over. What I'm gonna do is placing my sleeve right at the edge of the shoulder and marking all the way down when it goes. So here we go again. Let's take the proper measurement. This is probably a bit higher, right here. Now, I have my middle half. You can see where the color work is beginning and ending. So with this needle, I basically thread all the way down to the marker. So it's just a guide for myself. You don't really need this, but it's kind of an insurance for you when you are sewing. Because afterwards we will sew with our sewing machine all the way up here, down to the stitch markers and back up, so to kind of make everything secure. So let's get started. Right, so now you can see my baste, and I'm going to repeat this on the other side. Rather than measuring the sleeve, which should be hopefully the exact same, I'm just gonna count the number of rows underneath the stitch marker here, or on the top of the stitch marker, so I know that from the last bit of color work to the stitch marker I have this amount of rows. It's gonna be 2 rows only. Alright, now that we are done, we go with the sewing machine. I'm just going to keep the yarn, the base stitch right at the edge of the foot of the sewing machine, just to kind of secure it a bit and give some room for the rest. But let's start and hope. Okay, one side is complete, is not perfect, and probably you can't even see it on the camera, but we have 2 zigzags, one on each side of the original thread. And I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. We have our sticking bits. This is where the sleeves are going. I will start from the bottom up or the other way around. I don't know yet. It's quite scary as a process, but it is really, really worth it. So I'm going to put my scissors right in the center of my machine basting, machine stitching, and cut through. If I had a better pair of scissors, perhaps they would work better, but we work with what we have. Here we go. This is very scary because, you know, you work for months and months and weeks on your jumper and you're just cutting through. And my hands are really shaking now. Right, so let's start with the first sleeve, and I'm going still to do some Kitchener stitch. Is it called Kitchener or mattress stitch? All the way through. I'm basically setting my sleeve into the opening, and I'm going to repeat this with the other sleeve as well. I'll catch you back when I'm done with this. Here we go. We are done with the sticking. As you can see, looks very nice and tidy. I am so tempted in trying this on for a quick look before blocking. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. I'm so afraid. I always prefer to block it before try it on, so that at least I know that all the fibers of the yarn stuck together and they are kind of nice and tight, and I don't risk unraveling anything. But yeah, I really hope you enjoy the process. Of course, you're gonna see me in a second, probably wearing this if it fits, and I will tell you everything that I like, everything that I don't like about this pattern. But so far, yeah, I'm glad it's done. The sticking is finished. There wasn't any issue with the sticking at all, so yeah, really enjoy this. That was it. I really hope you enjoyed this first finished work. Finally, we have some finished work, but it was nice because it put me back into the joy of knitting and getting something done quite quickly. This is all decay, so it flew off the needles. Let's go on order here. I was flying over to Italy to spend a few weeks in Italy over Easter, celebrate Easter with my family. By the way, if you haven't heard from my accent yet, I am Italian originally, living in Ireland for the past basically ever. I still retain my Italian accent and I can hear it when I'm editing this video, which is very annoying. Hope you don't mind. Anyway, I was down there and I didn't have any plans of knitting. Back last month, if you have watched my previous podcast, I was feeling a bit stuck into my crafty project, crafty adventures, and I flew back to Italy without any projects. But when I was there, of course, the urge came back and I had to find something. So I went into mother's stash and I found, well, sorry about that, and I found a stash of this yarn. This is Bamboo Soft by Shippyjays. You can have a look at this. This is a bamboo cotton yarn which is 50% bamboo and 50% cotton, 50 grams per 150 meters. Your classic type of cotton yarn. You can get this out of drops, for example. And as well, out of my mom's stash, I found a bunch of hooks. My mom really likes crocheting, so there wasn't any brain with that. I went on Ravelry, I found a top that I kind of wanted to start crocheting, and what did we get here? We got this done. It's all full of yarns. It's not finished yet, but I think if I can manage to show you, you can get an idea of where this is going. And we have the first half of a top. I use a combination of this Shippyj yarn, a light beige, the brown that you've just seen, and as well a kind of grayish, just because I didn't really have in stash a full amount of yarn to warrant a unicolor type of top. So because I'm professional, I've written down the pattern on this post-it. This is the Relaxagon shirt by Caroline Zuschlag. Sorry if I don't pronounce right your name. Anyway, you will find all the patterns that I'm talking about down here in the description. You basically, let me show you the other half so you may have a better idea. The pattern, by the way, is for sale and it's not a cheap pattern, but I really hope I can show you how the construction works here. You make two halves. This is how enough works. And you keep knitting, crocheting, not knitting, until you get to the measurement that the designer provides you. It's all well thought out. All the measurements are there at every single step. And then eventually you get a sleeve, a front and a back of the thing. Then of course you create the other one, you join them back, make a collar, make the button band, and Bob is your uncle. I am stalling a bit on this just because crocheting hurts my hand very much. I don't know if it's because I'm not used to this tiny little thing rather than having needles, but it hurts a lot, so I had to stop for a while. But being a summer job, I really can't wait to get it done. It should be relatively quick because it's just granny stitch, so yeah, we'll see about that. Well, I really enjoy how it's going, really like the colors, and hopefully it will fit as well. Let me share with you now a couple of footage from Italy, from Easter. I live in a very rural, my family lives in a very rural side of the Venetian countryside, right at the feet of the Dolomites Mountains. My family has a big vineyard, they produce wine, and it's all very bucolic over there. So I really hope you enjoy this little break, and I'll get the next project for you coming up soon. So, hope you enjoyed to see a little bit of greenery there. What was that lisp? Anyway, the next project that I want to mention is not really a finished work. It's kind of a work in progress, but here we go. It's massive. It's, of course, a blanket. And it's really big. It's not as big as my flower granny square blanket that is still a work in progress, but this is quite sizable already. I am not following a pattern. This can be the thumbnail probably. Anyway, I'm not following a pattern because this is all kind of savage yarn that I have, and I want to make this blanket longer and longer as I go. I found this tiny little stitch. I have no idea what is the name of the stitch. It's a combination of now here, double crochet and treble crochet, I suppose. And yeah, it's just very nice. Savage project because I got a bunch of this cotton yarn, once again from my mother's stash. This yarn comes from a company that makes clothing. They use big bobbins of cotton yarn, and they have kind of professional industrial looms to make fabric and then clothing. My mother's happened to be friend with the owners, so they give them like the end of the combs and so on and so forth, and I could get quite a bit of them from my mom's. It's all a combination of yellow cotton and white cotton. I'm just crocheting along with this, hopefully making a nice blanket for the couch. I know you can't see the couch, it's just behind you in front of me. It's a grey couch with big color buttons and all yellow pillows and cushions. So I think this will work very well. It's now living there because I haven't crocheted a border all along, just on a couple of sides. So you can just continue crocheting, but if you fold this it will look nice and there's no ends to sew in. So I'm very happy with this. Unfortunately, this put on hold my previous blanket, the granny square one, just because I do have a huge amount of this yellow and white yarn and I kind of want to get rid of it. Also because using something like a 4.5 millimeters hook, this is really quick and it doesn't take much time to go through. But I'm very happy with this. It's been in my lap for all these chilly spring evenings that we're having here in Ireland. Are you tired already? It's a lot of blabbing, a lot of projects that I am conscious I'm just throwing out there. I really hope you don't mind this. It's currently 6:30, so I've been speaking for half an hour already. Let's get through the works in progress. Next work in progress, you can have a kind of a bit of a look here. It's a sock. And it's not blocked, and I know it looks a disgrace. I should have got a sock blocker in advance, but I'm not a professional podcaster anyway. This is the sock. Let me assure you that it looks amazing and it fits very well. I am a 43 shoe size, so this is quite stretchy and it fits. Believe me, I tried this on. Anyway, what is the pattern? This is a sock with heel tab that I've been making a lot in the past. I haven't done any socks in the last year probably because I have so many in my drawers and I really don't need more socks. But being the weather kind of changes, much warmer now, and I'm more outside, more wearing shorts, I find myself reaching out to shorties a lot of times, and especially woolly shorties. We're still in Ireland, it's still cold, although it's sunny and bright outside. But yeah, I'm just wearing shorties all of the time, and I only could find a couple of pair of shorties, so just to get more of them to be able to put them in the washer, get a new pair, I started these ones. I am on my second one, you can see here, and you probably can appreciate how it works. You knit the heel tab first with the German short rows, then you join together the cast on and the last row of the heel tab. You immediately make the heel, which in this case is a classic German short row heel, and then the body. I decided to go for a 2x2 ribbing on the body, just because, for a change. And I'm using this yarn here, which is, this is a West Yorkshire Spinner Signature 4-ply in the color Rome Paradise. I think this is quite popular yarn, you can find it everywhere. It's a classic 75-25 wool and nylon, and they always turn out good. This was 100-gram balls, so with this ball probably I can make at least a 6 pair of these shorty socks, and I am really enjoying how it's going. The toe is a classic knitted together and SSK type of decrease on the two sides. Now, pattern wise, I have no idea if this pattern is taken from somewhere, but I have always used this. It's in a very crinkled type of sheet, written out of a typewriter. Put it here if you want to have a look. Take a screenshot. This is one of the pieces of the pattern, and this is the rest of the pattern. There are errors in the pattern. I think I wrote this as a possible new design, but it never got up to rubbery. I've just been making this a lot of times, and yeah, it's there. But anyway, socks is the way to go for this summer, for me probably, and I'm really happy I got back into socks. I'm using the magic loop technique with 2mm needles, although it's not my favorite way of knitting socks. I do prefer knitting with DPNs, but in this case, because you have so many German short rows, and because you have always to take into account the beginning of the round and the halfway point, I feel like DPNs is just a much easier way to knit them without having to be annoyed with DPNs. Last thing, I have tried to match the pattern with decent results, but not really perfect. I think I am out of a couple of rows. It doesn't really matter. It's a colorful pair of socks. Who cares if the pattern matches? Right. Let's get over with this with our last piece of work in progress. And yes, you guessed right, it's another jumper. This jumper, let's get out our post-it, is the Scold Sweater by Yarbo. It's a pattern that once again I found out of the Kia's Board podcast. I'm gonna link her below here. She made a gorgeous version of this pattern for her husband and her son-in-law, if I'm right. Anyway, it's a stepson. I have no idea. It's gorgeous. It looks amazing on these two men, and I really wanted a version for myself, of course. It's a colorwork design from the Swedish yarn company Yarbo. Free pattern in English. I'm gonna link it below. And for now we have a ribbing and a piece of a body. You can see a tiny bit of colorwork in the bottom side of the ribbing. This lice pattern going up to the body, and then we will have a circular yoke with a big giant colorwork all over. Really into my wheels here with colorwork. It's a bottom up, and I already made a modification. They call for the classic Nordic style rolled up hem with interchanging colors in the ribbing, but I know I don't like roll up ends, and I just went for a 1x1 ribbing with tubular cast on, which I think is much more, I can't say nice, much more into what I would wear easily. The yarn that I'm using here is Sandnes Garn Perfect, which is a sock yarn, would you believe? DK sock yarn. It comes into this 50 grams ball, 75-25 wool and nylon. They don't really have a big array of colors for this yarn, but I just picked this as a main color, and they do have 7 balls. And I probably don't have enough to make the jumper, but we will see. For the contrasting colors, I'm using yarns that I find around the place. We do have the main one. It's a Holster Garn Super Soft Wool Held Double in the color Prussian Blue, if I'm right. Then we have the light blue, is that Woolly Knits Summer Storm, Stormy Blue, something. And a kind of mustard yellow, again from Holster Garn. I'm just using hands of yarn scraps that I have, just because there's such a big amount of colors and color works going on that I think I'm going to be safe with these bows. The only thing is the main color. I probably need to bite the bullet and buy more colors. But I'm very excited about this, and it's turning out really beautiful. Once again, I'm knitting the first size, because Kia's bought has recommended it for her husband and her stepson. They look nice and cozy on them, and I think I'm more or less the same body structure of those people, though I've never met them. I saw them on the camera. But as well, because the size is once again close to the 195 stitches at the bottom rib, that I'm kind of starting to experiment in following without having to swatch for the yarn. Needle-wise, I'm using a combination of 2.75 for the ribbing and 4mm for the main body, and I'm using Haya steel interchangeable needles. We are done with the rambling around knitting, so we can have a look at other stuffs that are happening, other stuff that is happening in my life. Sorry, English is now 6:45. Anyway, let's talk about art a little bit. I have 3 or 4 paintings or drawings rather than I want to show you, because I have been experimenting with a new medium art-wise. A medium is, if you're not into the art world, is a type of paint, color, stuff like that you use to mediate between, I like to say that, I don't know if it's the correct explanation, but mediate between your feelings and the paper. And I am using soft pastels, which are basically little small pieces of chalk, very highly pigmented, and they are extraordinarily beautiful and soft on the paper. And of course, as this is an experiment, I'm using this kind of restaurant paper that is used to fry potatoes and stuff like that, right out of the fryer. I have a big block of them, probably like 1,000 sheets, and they work fine with this medium, and yeah, it's a great inexpensive way to paint. But let me show you the artwork if I can manage. This is an example of it. It's a portrait that I made with soft pastels. Let me get into another one. This is one of my favorite, another little portrait, and you can see how the colors are just so very soft, and you can really experiment a lot with colors. I have no idea if this will go anywhere but these pieces of paper, but I really love how they feel. I do really like the possibility that they give you on just experimenting with colors, experimenting with different technique and getting your hands dirty while painting. Something that other type of mediums, like watercolor for example, don't really give me. And this was really helpful to get unstuck from kind of an artist block. For the last couple of months, I found less and less painting, being really busy with other stuff, but as well having to stick to a specific style, a specific medium. I felt stuck anyway. So using soft pastel really made me just jump into the painting. It's extraordinarily inexpensive, the paper that I'm using, for example, so I can just throw it in the bin without thinking twice if I don't like a piece, or keep it if I like it. And yeah, that's what's happening there, and I really enjoyed it. It's very calming. I put a couple of reels, short videos here on YouTube for you to see a little bit of the process, and I hope you check them out, and as well on the Instagram too. Last thing I want to talk to you about is my book reading situation. So let's go in order. Over Easter, I read this book here, The Institute by Stephen King. I bought this without knowing A, Stephen King, B, what this book was about. I bought this at the airport while going to Italy, just because I kind of needed a book for the trip, and yeah, this was what came up from the very small bookstore at the airport. Turned out to be quite nice. It's a story about a government agency that put up an institute for special kids somewhere in Ohio, and yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything more about the plot. It's very, very nice. Stephen King can be quite terrifying, so it was quite scary as well, but I was really hooked and I couldn't stop reading this. It's a very, very nice book. Would I recommend it? It's a bit superficial. It's a nice story. It's intriguing, it's full of conspiracy, but did it give it much? Probably not really. It was just kind of a pastime. On the other hand, the current reading book is The Winter of the World by Ken Follett. This is part of the Fall of Giants Second World War 20th century saga. I read The Fall of Giants, the first one, in about a week, and it's just there. It was a very sizable book like this one, and I couldn't stop reading. It was very, very good. This one, I find it is a bit dragging on. There's a lot of descriptions, a lot of politics, a lot of, once again, describing feelings, storing, jumping from a side to the other. I don't know if I am enjoying this as much, but I am almost a third through the book. Yeah, you know, Ken Follett is always a good choice, at least for myself. I really like how he writes. Now I have the third of this as well in my small house library to read through, and I already bought, on account of a friend's recommendation, the third twin by Ken Follett as well, so it should come in the post. Apparently is amazing. We'll see. I don't think I really have much else to talk about. Plans going ahead will be to finish my pair of shorties socks and eventually get another started. I think I might, yeah. Go on with my crochet situation there. There are so many projects, and finish that beautiful scold sweater as well. Although the weather is changing fast and furious, it's getting warmer and warmer by the day, so I probably won't need a big woolly jumper for the next 3 or 4 months, so that can stay in the back burner for a while and I won't really mind. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, share your thought with me, and I will see you very soon with another update. Thank you again. Bye bye.